What's going on, everybody? It is lunchtime. Lunch with the Clydesdale here on a Thursday afternoon. What's going on? Ken Welter's I think it's Just You and I. It's a song by Crystal Gale and Eddie Rabbitt from the 80s. Just You and I. Now we got Corey. So there we go. It's not just you and I anymore. There we go. Gotta do my dart throw. I'm gonna do it open instead of at the close, because close I always miss terribly. Dang it. One of these times I'm gonna hit a bullseye. I think I just realized my dartboard is spun. It is not configured correctly because I just hit a triple 20, and 20 should be at the top, not kind of side wickered. Anyway, Ken is having rudd russets and elk. Oh my gosh. Elk is one of my favorite things in the world to eat. When I was out in Montana with my daughter, the Fuddruckers even served elk. Like, oh my gosh. And there's no Fuddruckers left in Columbus. They've all closed down. And so we went when we were out in Montana, and when I saw elk on the menu, so stoked. It is just the best. So enjoy that today, Ken. I had a Bear Bell's salty peanut protein bar about an hour ago. My schedule's way off with getting my wife up and around, and I'm back to work today. Getting ready to launch a new project in a few weeks. So getting some of the prelim talks done today, but yeah. Speaking of my daughter in Montana, we got a call last night that she got moved into her new place. So she has her own space now. She has an apartment. She mentioned at work that it came open, and 3 of her coworkers with pickup trucks showed up at the U-Haul storage facility. They loaded all of her stuff up into 3 trucks in one trip, took them over and unloaded everything into her apartment, and she got to sleep in the apartment last night. So good to have friends with pickup trucks. And that was awesome for her. She said it was the best night's sleep she's had in 3 weeks. And so that was awesome that she actually has her own space. And the best part is you go out onto the balcony of her apartment and you can see the Rocky Mountains. It's a beautiful view from where she's at. It is so cool. It's the best place she's lived in since she left this house. Her college apartments were trash. Her apartments in Pittsburgh were not much better. And now she's in a really nice apartment. So, Meredith, yeah, props to the coworkers for having her back. She's only been there a week and a half. So I guess she's making an impression that they were willing to help. Pretty crazy. Ken says, check out Buffalo Gal online. She's in Minnesota. Elk, wild boar, bison, venison. Order from her until the son-in-law starts hunting seasons in fall. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I will check her out for sure. Couple things I wanted to touch on today. We're going to be all over the map a little bit today, but I saw this thing that Sam Briggs posted. I had to share it because it's like that unanswered question that's always been out there, and she finally answers it. And so I'm going to share my screen and we'll take a look at her post. So you can see in this picture, this is from, I think, the 16 games when Sam overtook Brent on the trail run. And a lot of people asked why she did it, because she was already winning the women's side. There was no advantage to doing that. And she says that she was recording a podcast yesterday, and the old Fitkowski takeover got brought up. I've been asked numerous times after why I fought to overtake him when I didn't need to. Well, here is the answer. Simple. I did need to. And Fikowski has Rich Froning to thank for it. And during the 2014 Champions Open announcement, I led for most of the workout, but during the closing rounds, Rich was catching up. The voice inside my head was telling me, we're hurting enough. I don't need to beat Rich. I just have to stay ahead of Annie. And I listened to that voice and didn't try to push and stay ahead of him. Ever since that workout, I always wondered if I had enough energy left in the tank to beat him, but now we'll never know. So when I saw Fikowski in my sights, it didn't matter that we weren't in direct competition. I had no choice. I had to see if I could pass him. Moral of the story, if you ever get the chance to beat Rich Froning in a workout, you take it. And Fikowski actually comments, you definitely passed me fair and square. I was in a rough place and couldn't have held you off even if I wanted to. But I made sure Tia and Christy didn't get me the next year. And Rich Froning chimes in, I always thought you let me. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's one of those infamous moments in CrossFit Games lore that Sam Briggs took that opportunity to pass Fikowski on the final, couple 100 meters of the trail run. And now we know the whole story behind it, that it actually was something burning in her from when she basically let Rich Froning overtake her in an open announcement. And it was never going to let that happen again. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then the fact that Rich chimed in to say that I always thought that she let him beat her in that event. Because I can't imagine Sam letting anybody win, but there we have it straight from her mouth. She did that back then and has had a hard time living with that. So there you have it. Pretty cool. Fun little story to read today. When I was looking through my Instagram. So Ken Walters, I know, I have a story for everything. My strength coach, Will Griffin, beat Rich and Angelo in a team event at the big Texas event last year. He put it on our PR board. There you go. There you go. Yeah, Rich has a team that always comes up to Fresh Coast, up where Jamie lives in Detroit. It's actually about an hour away on Lake Michigan, and they compete on the beach. And I don't think they win every event every year, but they come, him and Dan Bailey and I think it was who was with them. They're 3-person teams. It's one of his cousins from Michigan. We're up there, and they did that event. And then Mayhem brought another team with Ben, and I think I'm just having a brain fart today. Again, the guy who does the merchandise for them and the graphics. Can't think of it off the top of my head. Anyway, it was fun seeing them up there working out. And as I was capturing some of that event live, it was cool seeing them do that with the community. Pretty cool. One other thing I'm going to touch on real quick to just kind of back up what we talked about yesterday. And that is, this was posted. Hiller shared it. It was actually, let me share the screen. I don't know if you guys have seen this. We'll crank this up a little bit.
Of your fitness videos being scrutinized by a YouTuber that's compensating for never qualifying for the CrossFit Games. Are you tired of the CrossFit community attacking your movement patterns because you still don't understand how to do a burpee correctly? Then maybe you should consider finding a real coach. a coach that holds you accountable, a coach that'll tell you the truth, even if it hurts.
We might just know a guy.
How cool is that? What an answer to everybody saying that the athletes are in a tough position, getting judged by everybody in the community right after they spent their energy hard at work over the weekend as a professional athlete. They and I love that Marco used that as a almost a marketing thing for his coaching. That was awesome. But I still can't get over the fact that people are butthurt about this. Every professional sport has this. And Corey and I were talking after we went off the air yesterday. Like, look at divers and figure skaters and gymnasts. They get judged every event right after the event, live on TV, live in the arena. People hold up cards about how good or bad you've done during that event. And so many of these athletes come from the gymnastics background. Why is it such a surprise that people are actually going to judge you? Jason Bourne, they get to do CrossFit. They don't have to. Exactly. When you sign up to be a professional athlete and you're in the public's eyes, whether it be a big spotlight like the NFL or a smaller spotlight like the CrossFit community, you are going to get judged in everything that you do. People are going to pick who's going to win. People are going to say you're better at this event. This is an event that's tough for you. Analysis is going to happen all the time. But there is a standard. There is a standard out there that you are supposed to follow. And when you don't follow that standard, it makes the sport not fair for everyone. And to make a sport real and to make it legit, it has to be a fair playing field for everyone on the floor. Everyone has the same chance to win. Not that this person has to go below parallel. This person can go 3 inches above parallel. It's not a fair, equitable field for them to compete in. And when you're online, the only way to determine if that has happened is through a video review. It's so dumb. Ken Walter says, yeah, and even the All-Star Game slam dunk competition, they get the scores right after. I would say that was not a fair and equitable judging during the 80s. When the slam dunk contest was at its peak and you had Dominique Wilkins and Spud Webb and Michael Jordan and all those guys competing, man, the judging was sus at best back then. But anyway, that's that. So we're going to talk about a few other things today. I talked yesterday that I watched Tia's video. I'll tell you, it takes a lot for me to watch a Tia video. Her content is not my favorite on the planet. It may be others. They love her to death. She is the greatest athlete we have ever seen in this sport, but her content does not live up to what she is as an athlete. And so I saw clips of her hairdo getting compared to Tim Paulson's hairdo, which is really funny, and some stuff about her and Colton shit talking, which in the video, the full video, it never amounts to much. Colton says he's saving his shit talking for the competition season, not for an exhibition with Tia. And he chuckles a little bit. And he's not in the video a lot. I know that Kenneth Lapp said yesterday that there wasn't enough Colton in it. And there really wasn't a lot. She's also asked why she's not competing in the in-person semifinal or the in-affiliate semifinal. And she says that she actually needed to have something to train for and to train hard for. And so she's putting everything into the Torian as her big event. She doesn't mention the games. She doesn't mention if she's going to go to the games if she gets an invite. Those are all those speculation things that have been swirling out there. And she does nothing to clarify it, which is a little bit aggravating because she put that last video out making everybody think that Torian was going to be it. And she's done nothing to clarify anything that came out after that. And in this video, they talk about Torian again. And again, she talks about nothing after Torian and what her decision will be following that. So found that somewhat interesting, I guess, is a word for it. But I just am tired of the games. Everything is this like cloak and dagger with her, and she doesn't really say anything to give us any direction as to where her career is going to go. And she doesn't owe us that or anything like that. If you're going to put it out there in a coded way, explain yourself at some point so we actually know what you said. So there it is. Ken says at least she's consistent since her original retirement announcement. I guess. Yep. Consistently shady, not shady in a bad way, but just cloak and dagger, never really giving you the full story or the full understanding as to what all of that means. I also, this is the video review process of the show. I watched the behind the scenes part 1 of the World Fitness Project. What I'll say is it was short. It was cute. I enjoyed it a little bit. But again, like, I think it lacks some storytelling. Everything was super quick hitter in that. There's a part in there. So basically what it is, it's people arriving in Indianapolis, getting their new jackets, getting the new t-shirts, doing some media stuff. And then they go to the Indy Motor Speedway where they meet up with some IndyCar drivers. And this is all athletes. They hop in a car, get driven around the track a little bit. I think that is cool, but you're not telling me how fast they're being driven around the track. You don't see any real reactions to them, like getting scared of the speed or anything like that. Those are things I would like to know or see as they're doing that. They did get like autographed milk bottles. And if you've ever watched the Indy 500, the winner chugs milk at the end of it. And all the drivers signed milk jugs for them to take back with them. And that was kind of cool. But then there's a part where they actually are talking about or showing the community events where they teamed up with local gyms, showed up and coached classes, did Q&As, all of that stuff. That's where I thought the meat on the bone was that I really wanted to see. This is stuff that's been explained to us as things that they want to do to kind of differentiate themselves. And to me, it was too short. I wanted to see like them working with the athletes. They showed a little bit of the Q&A, but not a whole lot of it. And I think that would have helped understand what their goal is with this community event or community events. They did it, a couple of them, to see what it is they're doing to reach out and connect and become a part of the community. Because they don't have an established affiliate system, they have to create their own community now. And I wanted to see how they were doing that. You hear them talk about it. You hear Saxon and Will talk about it. I wanted to see it in action, and it was really short in that area. They did show the facility. It is massive. They showed the turf being laid. They were getting ready to lay the rubber mats and put up the rig. It looks like there's a full lighting rig that's going to be floating above it. So it's going to be more of like from my guess, with what I saw, like a Wadapalooza light show as it's going on. Rogue kind of leaned in that direction in Scotland. I think that it's going to be more that we're going to see this weekend, as opposed to like the conventional semifinal or regional setup. So that's going to be interesting to see. A fitness rave. That's it, Corey. It's going to be a fitness rave. Yeah. T-Bird says, I really enjoyed the behind the scenes video just released. I enjoyed the video. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it, but I want more storytelling. There's this aspect about community outreach that they keep talking about that I want to understand more. And they showed it so briefly in this behind the scenes. I just wanted more of that meat from the bone than maybe the athletes going and riding in a car fast. And that's just me personally. I want to understand it better so I can talk about it better and just understand what's going on. I want to gauge your opinions. They got these new like leather varsity jackets with the WFP logo on the back and their name. And I'm just curious, like, is that cool now? Because I come from the era of Seinfeld where Putty put that on the magic 8-ball and like got made fun of with the leather varsity jacket kind of thing. I think it looks kind of cool. But in my head, I have that whole thing going on. And so I'm having a hard time figuring out, is it really cool or is it just, I don't know. The athletes seem to be enjoying it. And again, I'm 55. I am not the hippest guy in the world. So just trying to figure out whether it's cool or not. And everything old is new again, says Corey. And Ken says, I think those look awesome in black and white. Ken says Putty's was even bad for the 80s. Okay. Touche. Touche. So there we go. But yeah, overall, it was a good video. It's not real long. It's super short, the behind the scenes. If you want to watch it, it's a quick watch. Again, I just wanted more of that community outreach piece. And there's so many like elements, like Saxon looking at this sign that they designed about the community and what it means and what are the different aspects of it. But then they don't really talk about what those aspects are. And then they go to gyms and they're doing workouts with the community, but it's super short. And you don't like, I wanted to see them like coaching the athletes, talking to the athletes. They show a little bit of a Q&A. I just wanted a little bit more. That's it. So, but it's a good watch. I just wanted a little bit more. T-Bird says maybe they'll release a longer form behind the scenes. Well, it says BTS 1. So I'm assuming there's going to be a BTS 2 and 3. And maybe some behind the scenes of the actual competition weekend. That would be cool. So yeah, I don't know. Ken says Putty's fur coat wasn't much better. No. And his face paint at the Devils game was absurd. Jay Birch, the PRCA gives out those to competitors who make the finals and have for years. Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association. So those leather jackets are like a trophy. I'm assuming for those people there. What I couldn't tell from the behind the scenes is, did just the 20 contracted athletes get it? Because I didn't see any that said like Sagafi or some of the challengers that had advanced. I didn't see their leather jackets. I saw them in the t-shirts, but not the leather jackets. It appeared like just the 20 pro card athletes got the leather jackets, and I could be mistaken. I was just trying. I was just trying to figure out if the challengers got it as well because they qualified. Ken says, now I have a hockey bias. I did like the Devil's face paint episode. Love the episode, but the paint job was absurd. Tiber says, I think they are great. Speaking of the videos, something unique. I think they have the potential to be super great. The Laura Horvath one, I will go on and on, is one of the best storytelling episodes of anything. CrossFit, WFP, whatever. One of the best episodes I've seen in a very long time. Corey, Patrick Warburton is hilarious as an actor. Dude, I've loved him since Seinfeld, and when he played the Tick, loved the old Tick episodes. He was so awesome in that. T-Bird, think these are for quick turnaround. Again, hopefully there will be something released after. I would bet Colton doesn't wear the WFP coat. Auction for charity. I don't know. I kind of have a thing about that too. And I don't know. I was thinking about saving this for tomorrow. I don't understand why people are refusing to even mention WFP's name when they're talking about the fitness space as a whole, the competition fitness space. To ignore them is stupid. They exist. They are affecting the season. You cannot talk about the season without talking about them, whether you like them, love them, hate them, disagree with them, whatever it is. You cannot talk about the season without acknowledging that they exist. And all these people on shows, like when WFP comes up and like, I never heard of them. Oh, don't know who that is. It's just dumb. You cannot do your part as an analyst if you don't acknowledge they are having an impact on the season. And when I look at, and I was going to pull up the French Throwdown lineup, and you look at WFP this weekend, one of these two elements, or one of these two events, is going to be better to watch than the other, in my opinion. And it's probably not the French Throwdown. I was watching Beyond the Whiteboard yesterday, and I heard Chase try to act like the WFP didn't exist. And I don't understand it. Jay Birch, I always acknowledge when a rattlesnake is in the room. Yeah. Competition is a good thing. Competition makes everybody better. And you shouldn't be afraid from it. You should go, if you are confident in what you are doing, you should move forward with what you want to do and be confident that you are just better than the other person. Jason Bourne, I agree. It's like being a petulant child. Yeah. I mentioned WFP at a workout recently, and someone said, you know about Women for Peace? I did not know about Women for Peace. But that is just driving me crazy. And I know, like, Hiller is refusing to talk about it. And I think it's a protest that he doesn't believe they're telling us enough about what's going on. But regardless of that, they are impacting the season. If you are talking about the fitness space as a whole, you have to talk about the WFP. Because they're happening this weekend. TFX is happening next weekend. And whatever happens this weekend at WFP is surely going to affect what happens next week at TFX. The Europeans that are choosing to do WFP this weekend and not going to the French Throwdown, where there is nobody in the lineup. Not nobody, but there's very little in the lineup and actually a good shot at qualifying at French Throwdown. You're basically throwing away your games ticket by going to WFP. And that needs to be talked about. Because Wadland Fest is over. The inaffiliate semifinal is over. If you didn't qualify in those, and the only thing left in Europe is French Throwdown, which is this weekend, and you're choosing to go to WFP, you're basically handing in your ticket. Unless you think you can qualify in the last chance qualifier, or you're going to fly to the US or fly to Torian or fly to one of these other competitions to compete. So let's take a look. Ken says that just tells you how much guaranteed money WFP athletes are getting. They don't all care about the games anymore. I wouldn't say they, yeah, I don't know. I need to think on that a little bit more. But let's look at the French Throwdown. And this is the leaderboard. And this is the men's division. There are names on here. I know Brian Guillaume. I know Bronislav Olinkowicz and Callum Clements. Enrico Zanoni already has his spot, maybe. Now, if he qualifies here, then one spot will move up on the leaderboard on the in affiliate. Georges Kervis. Luke Parker. Moritz Fiebig, who already has his ticket. Yep. Any names? Anybody? Oldest Upanix. It is not a stacked field by any stretch of the imagination. So this is your lineup for the men at the French Throwdown. I'll do my picks tomorrow for that. On the elite side, again, Andra Moistus almost qualified, I think, at Wadland Fest and then fell off at the end. Claudia Gluck. Elisa Fuliano, we already know, is not competing this year. Emily Lundberg. Karen Frey is not competing this year. Lucy McGonigal. Miriam von Rohr. And Taylor Howe. It is not at all a stacked field on either side. And there are going to be 4 tickets coming from this competition. 4 tickets. That is insane. And there's already people here who have either qualified or did not do the open. So it's going to mess up the leaderboard a little bit to try to figure out who's going. But yeah, I see people saying Braun could actually qualify again. There's Jay Birch. Braun could qualify again. Luke Parker for the win. It is entirely possible. Now, I don't know. So my question to you all is, do you watch the French Throwdown with these athletes, or do you watch the WFP where you get to see Jeffrey Adler, Dallin, Jason Hopper, Colton Mertens, and the names go on and on and on. And on the women's side, you get to see Ariel, you get to see Emily, you get to see Laura Horvat, you get to see Emma Lawson, you get to see Alexis Raptis, all of those. It just seems absurd that you're not going to at least give the WFP a chance. One, just out of curiosity, I want to see what they're going to do. I want to see what it's going to look like. And all honesty, they have a stacked field that I'm going to know everybody in that field, and I'm going to have a rooting interest. And I will admit my Europe knowledge on athletes is not that strong, but I know a handful of people on the men's side and a handful on the women's side. And it's going to be a lot harder to root for all of those other heats other than the main heat in that one. So, yeah. I mean, I'll be watching both. I'm going to see what's going on at both so I can talk about it on Sunday night. But yeah. But I'm more curious about the WFP to see what is new, what is different, or are they just like revamping what's been done? Trying to see what else is here. I'm watching WFP, not so much athletes except Colton, but to see how this new circus monkey works. Yeah. And who knows, they may put on a great show. We don't know. We don't know until we see it. Corey says, I'll probably watch some WTF this weekend out of sheer curiosity. I think it's more than curiosity. Like I've gotten to know these athletes over the time I've been doing the media and judging and security. Like I want to see these athletes and what they're going to do. None of the semifinals will match the field of what's going to happen at WFP. And I want to see what that is. T-Bird, I'll be watching both. Yeah. I mean, I'll be watching both so I can report out on everything on Sunday night. But I will tell you, I'm more excited to watch WFP this weekend just because I want to see what they're doing and are they bringing innovation and new stuff to the table. That's what I want to see for sure. The last thing I want to talk about, and I'll get into it more tomorrow because I'm running out of time. And that is it. Did anybody else watch the spin last night? Because when John did the Games Mountain, I really had a hard time with it. His obsession with Austin Hatfield has gotten out of control. And what I mean by that is to make him the top of the mountain, the guy won Mayhem, and other than that has never won an event at all. And he has him at the top of the mountain. And he made the statement that Jeff Adler has never beaten at Austin in the last 2 years. And who else was it? And Dallin has never beaten Austin in the last 2 years. And James Sprague has never beaten Austin in the last 2 years. Jay Birch, Crash is great competition. It is not Rogue, which Jeff Adler won and took second in the year before that. It is not the North America East semifinal, which Jeff Adler won and Austin Hatfield finished 7th, I think. James Sprague won the games. Jeff Adler won the games 2 years ago. All of those things are bigger accomplishments than what Austin Hatfield has done so far. I think that Austin is talented. I think that he has a shot to make a move. But how the hell can you put him at the top of your mountain when he has not done anything to prove that he belongs there without going up against the Adlers and the Dallin Peppers of the world? It just is insanity to me. Like, has John lost his marbles? Has he fell in love so much with Austin Hatfield that everything else be damned, he's going to be at the top of my mountain, and it doesn't matter that Jeff Adler has won a ton of shit since then, or that Dallin Pepper beat him at the games last year. I mean, come on. T-Bird, completely agree. Just giving the John Young perspective. I mean, I watch the spin every week. And it's just stuff like this that makes me shake my head. I actually watch it as I'm going to bed, as I'm getting ready for bed, and I lay down and literally this made me pop up out of bed and scream at the TV. Are you kidding me? Yep. And he is the senior analyst in the CrossFit space. So anyway, just had to get that off my chest. Today was a get things off of Scott's chest day. Jody Lynn still haven't watched the spin. That's okay, because you watch me. And if there's something important, I'm going to tell you. Adler would have smoked Hatfield at Mayhem. Look what Adler did in the online qualifier. He smoked everybody. Now I get it. Hatfield and Mertens didn't compete, but he had Colton like up on tier 3, and he's never finished above 19th at the games. Like, we've lost some sense of reality in this whole thing. Lunch rant. There we go. Lunch riff, Jody. It's always a riff from me. I always like to be just a little bit different. The spin is fun to watch, just on at a bad time for me to watch live. That's usually family night. I actually never, ever watched. I very rarely do I watch the spin live. And I always watch it going to bed. So it's probably 2 or 3 hours after they go off the air, I start watching it. But yeah, I stood up in bed last night. Like, what the hell are you talking about, John Young? But Atlanta, is WFP being live streamed? It is. It is going to be a full production live stream. They're adding bells and whistles that we don't know all the details of, but it's on their website. It's not going to be on YouTube. So you have to go to theworldfitnessproject.com to see. You have to go to their website to see it. But they're using AI to do like 6 or 7 different languages. And they're doing other bells and whistles that YouTube will not allow for them to do. So they're taking a risk, because YouTube is the place where everybody goes to for CrossFit content, and it's the number 2 search engine in the world. And I think they're going to be missing out on viewers because they're not there with things popping up to them. But they wanted to do something new and different and see if that made a difference. And the replay will be available on YouTube after the fact. And they didn't say how long after the fact. I don't know if it's like right after or if it's like the following week. We don't know, but we'll see. We'll see sometime. Jake says some people get phased out at in-person comps. I agree. I also think Jay Crouch should be higher than Hatfield. He did extremely good in the online semis as well. And he's done well at the games the last couple of years. Couple top 10 finishes. So he's doing it in person and online. Ken, I don't know what this means. I didn't get to hear Savon this morning. So I have been off nicotine for a very long time. So they're taking on YouTube too now. They are. Yep. They are. They're not competing. They're just taking them on. Doing something new for news sake is silly when you're just starting out. I think if you have enough money to like throw a bet at the wall, then fine, do it. But just don't do it in a way that takes away your stability to keep going. If the bells and whistles are cool enough, then fine. Like when Rogue added the camera that I could move around and see whoever I wanted on the stream, that was a bet that I would pay the $25 every time Rogue puts it out there to watch that way. So there are bets worth it and there are bets not worth it. And I don't know what those bells and whistles are because they're not telling us. So until I see it, I don't know if it's worth the gamble. So Corey says also, what could they possibly be doing that YouTube doesn't allow? That's what Rogue did. Rogue's special broadcast that you pay for is not on YouTube. It is on their website. And that allowed you to move the camera to different lanes. It allowed you like 4 different or 5 different angles. It allowed you to hear an alternate broadcast from a desk show as opposed to Sean and Adrian on the broadcast. So, yeah. Yeah. So it could be worth it. Jake says, I have no idea who came where at the games. All I know is Philip Kelly went and was sensational in his shorts in the stands there. Whatever helps you out, buddy. T-Bird is 23 days away from being smoke-free for a year. Nice job. Good for you, T-Bird. T-Bird heart. It allows them to do live interpretation using AI. I know that is the one bell and whistle, but they actually said there was more to it than that, but they didn't dive into what those things were. I am hoping that it allows some interactivity, that you can look at different camera angles, things like that, like Rogue did. Hopefully they reached out to Rogue and said, what did you do with your broadcast that made it so special? Maybe we'll take some of that stuff over here. I'm excited to see what that is, but we won't be able to do that till tomorrow afternoon. So tomorrow we'll be back on the show. I will make my picks for who I think will podium at the WFP. I'll make my picks for who I think will get their tickets at the French Throwdown, and whatever else pops up in the world of news and fitness in the space, we'll do that then. But it's my first day back to work after my wife's surgery, and I need to get back. So time to get back to work, you knuckleheads. We are out of here. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye, guys.